Well, it comes the weekend, and coming the weekend means that it's Michael Snyder. And he's out there on the left coast ready to tell you what's happening in movies. Hello, Michael.
Well, hello, Alex, and a happy October to you and everybody else. I'm so happy. We tasted October, but now we're drinking it full. I did my little Oktoberfest thing last weekend, and now I'm revved up for the autumn, and the good films are starting to trickle out, man. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Well, let's start with one that sucked. No, it didn't really suck. It was a disappointment, and for obvious reasons. Pan is based on characters created by James M. Barrie, the guy who wrote Peter Pan, and this purports to be a prequel to the author's quite literally deathless Peter Pan. And this is supposed to answer the questions: where'd Peter come from? How'd he get to Neverland? What's his deal? I mean, I kind of hoped this would be fantastic. I didn't want to have to pan it. And it was colorful and kinetic and featured a solid cast, but I left it feeling pan-fried. I mean, there's an anachronistic use of actual punk rock songs as sung or chanted by cast members. That's for starters. Shades of Baz Luhrmann's Moulin Rouge and anyone else who tries to jam contemporary pop music or hoary pop music into something that where it doesn't belong. Yeah, there's a ton of CGI creature work, some good, some meh. The 3D is sort of gratuitous, although justifiable because of the fantastic elements of the movie, as Pan is depicted as Peter, a kid in a London orphanage during the World War II Blitz. He's a 12-year-old, and he finds himself snatched up by pirates along with other kids from the orphanage and brought to Neverland to mine for pixie dust, because the evil pirate Blackbeard, not Captain Hook, no, Blackbeard, played by Hugh Jackman, wants to get as much pixie dust as possible because he keeps him young. Anyway, yeah, Peter can fly and all that, and he has a fairy lineage. And as a matter of fact, we have the brief pleasure of seeing Amanda Seyfried as his mom. There's admittedly some fun moments in this thing. It turns out that Captain Hook is a guy with two hands who works for Blackbeard as a slave in the pixie mines, but that all changes. You get the general idea, but there's the sense we've been here before, over and over. How many times are we going to see revisionist versions or modernizations of fairy stories and myths? I mean, this is just one more stab at monetizing beloved literature that's in the public domain, like ABC's Once Upon a Time, a guilty pleasure of mine.
I don't believe to this day Peter Pan is in the public domain. It's still owned by the hospital that it was given to by James M. Barrie.
Well, then that's good. This is a charitable effort. That doesn't make it a great movie. I mean, Once Upon a Time has already plundered this material and so much stuff from bygone classics and Disney adaptations, including a season or two ago, Peter Pan. So, big yawn. Now, here's the weird part. Britain's Joe Wright directed this, and he had done a recent cool interpretation of Anna Karenina, and in 2005, Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley and other talents. And so he's been doing the classics for a while, but those were really good. He also did Hannah and Atonement, which were even better, I think. But do we need the billionth plowing of well-trod ground? The kid Levi Miller isn't bad. Rooney Mara's Tiger Lily, what a disappointment. Kids might like it. Okay, how about something for the adults? Steve Jobs. This was highly anticipated, and it's a movie biography, ostensibly a movie biography, about the late Apple founder and Pixar angel. And it was written by Aaron Sorkin, who we know from The West Wing and The Newsroom and The American President and so many other kind of blue chip projects. Directed by Danny Boyle of Trainspotting, Slumdog Millionaire, etc. So there's a certain measure of quality and adult intellect at work here. And it stars Michael Fassbender in this crucial, complex, and endlessly fascinating performance that puts him easily as a front runner when awards time comes around. He plays Jobs. I mean, this is endlessly clever, beautifully, intricately executed. A look at this entrepreneurial, prickly, arrogant, even sometimes nasty visionary, the guy who co-founded and on again and off again led Apple. So Steve Jobs is seen over the years year. He was a marketing genius, a corporate loose cannon, and a reluctant father, as depicted in this movie, all via joining him at 3 product launches over the course of this volcanic career, plus a few notable flashbacks. So 3 product launches over the course of his career enable us to see his changes, see his attitudes, and the changing times, and Apple's changes as well. That's how clever this thing is. Some of the most significant people in his life are here and incredibly well realized. Kate Winslet plays his long-suffering right-hand woman, Joanna Hoffman. Jeff Daniels is the corporate advocate turned adversary, John Scully. Seth Rogen, not wasted in either sense of the terms, is his longtime partner, the tech whiz and Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak. And Catherine Waterston, who was so good in a variety of recent films, who's kind of on the rise in a way, is his ex-girlfriend, Chris Ann Brennan, and the mother of his daughter. This is structurally brilliant, emotionally powerful, and it makes the Ashton Kutcher biopic of Jobs from a couple years ago seem like an ABC after-school special or some kind of terrible sitcom. I do recommend this. It's a grown-up film for grown-up viewers. In the crap realm, Knock Knock is here, and some talented people are involved, including the horror film director Eli Roth, who did, he's done some really gruesome, brutal movies. And this is a very bizarre variation on Funny Games, the movie about the 2 home invaders that ruin a suburban husband and wife's lives. And in this case, this is about an architect who's left alone with nothing but a project to do as his wife and offspring go off for a little vacation, and 2 young girls show up on a rainy night looking for help. He lets them in, and they wreak havoc. And I have to say, one of the main problems with the film, I had fun watching it, but one of the main problems is Keanu Reeves plays the guy. And you never buy him as a man of great intellect, albeit an architect. And you know what? He's just not a very good actor. I'm sorry, he's not a very good actor. So this became sort of laughable in places. And other than that, I wish they'd gotten another guy to play him, because the girls are great. They're out of control. And I thought that the idea was sort of clever. But you know what? It's disposable. Maybe you want to watch it on a Saturday night on video. Maybe not. Finally, I want to mention Winter on Fire, which is a documentary through Netflix that you can watch today and is also opening theatrically in New York and L.A. The subtitle is Ukraine's Fight for Freedom, and it's a documentary, a total You Are There documentary on the unrest in the Ukraine during 2013 and 2014 as the student demonstrations that wanted to have the Ukraine integrated into the European Union went kind of bonkers and turned into this violent revolution. And it's done by a director named Evgeny Afinievsky, and he was there apparently, and the camera work is so up close and personal. The devastation is so visceral and in your face, and the story is so powerful. It's really as good as this kind of documentary can get. It's like being on the front lines because the cameras were there. So I do recommend this for those interested in that historical and very recent moment in world politics and history. What do you got, buddy? Watching anything? Have you seen anything lately?
No, well, I mean, we went and saw The Walk, and we went and saw Sicario, and both of which we really liked.
Great films.
Yeah.
May I ask you, did you see The Walk in 3D?
Yes, of course.
Did you have a visceral reaction to the aerial work?
Well, even if it weren't in 3D, I would. But I think the only way to see this film is in 3D. I've never seen a film so suited to 3D as this one. So,
what did I liken it to a week or so ago? To going on one of those Disney e-ticket rides. I was white knuckling.
If you go back and watch the documentary, which we did afterwards, of Man on Wire, it's the same exact film. In other words, it's as though they decided, well, here's a documentary. Let's just do a Hollywood version of the documentary. That's how close they are together. So
they built a thrill ride, though, in my book. I have to say.
Yeah, but when you watch the original thing, you get the same visceral feeling about it. When he lies down on that wire, you just go, how does any human being do that? You know,
who has the guts and the madness to do something like that?
Yeah.
I am grateful for films like The Walk and Everest and even The Martian that use 3D to a positive end.
But Everest was not done in 3D. Okay,
Right.
Martian and The Walk were shot in 3D, and that does make a big difference.
There is a distinction, but at least there's a reason to convert the Everest film to
Well, no,
3D.
there
But
would be
I get you.
there'd be a better reason to go out and just rent the cameras that you can shoot it in 3D. You
Well,
know, it's just pure laziness, is what it is.
I would agree with you on that. What's on in TV land?
Nothing, you know. The Flash is back, and it's okay. Arrow is back now. I think it's slowly being changed into Green Arrow. And it's not, I think it's getting a little long in the tooth, okay? Otherwise...
What did you think of, have you watched Limitless at all?
Yeah.
And?
You know, so it's okay.
It's a spin-off from the movie that starred Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, we know that. We know
takes
that.
the
But,
pill.
but it's not that good. And American Horror Story, you know, I always love the style of that show, and they're not letting us down this year. So, and it's a great idea for a show because every year it's a different show.
And this year it's the Lady Gaga show, from what I hear.
Yeah, it's basically, yeah, she's kind of the star of the show. But it you know, I mean, I think that's a good show too. So, you know, that's what I've been watching more or less, you know. And
yeah, I'm back at I'm watching Doctor Who. I'm watching a few things, but you know, I'm still waiting for something great to come along.
Well, The Strain is gone for this year, and I love that show. And you know, it's okay. It's all right. And for those of you who like to steal video from England, Downton Abbey is out. So, you know.
Yes, it is. That's all
Yeah.
I'll say.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and I think this year they're going to kill off Lord Grantham. And the reason I think that is last year, Isis the dog started feeling a little logy in one episode, and 2 episodes later the dog was dead. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Well,
And
in
now
this
Lord Grant-
in the most recent episode, Lord Grantham has a cough, and somebody says, "Oh, what is that?" He says, "Oh, I just have a little cough." So I figure that's going to turn into cancer, and he's going to be dead. That's
whoa, wait. You mean he's going to Violet is going to outlive him? The Maggie Smith character will outlive him?
Probably.
Oh my God!
But then
That's
again,
horrible.
Maggie Smith will outlive all of us. So you know, that's life in the fast lane.
I do watch. I just want to say I love watching Penelope Wilton and Maggie Smith snipe at one another. That's kind of my favorite thing about the show.
Yeah. But you know, there isn't a lot. I mean, I wish there was some new show that we really went, oh wow, that's just incredible. You know, and my guilty pleasure is Blacklist. I think it's a pretty good show.
Yeah, as I said earlier, my guilty pleasure is still Once Upon a Time, which is a clown show, but I watch it vigorously, if only for Robert Carlyle's crazy Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah,
but
I got out of that show a few years ago. You know.
Supergirl's coming up on Mondays on CBS.
Yep, great show. I've seen it. Looks good.
Well, there you go.
And so, you know, anyway, that's pretty much it, huh?
Yeah, let's roll.
Okay.
You can catch me on Twitter at Culture Blaster. Follow me there, and certainly join Alex and myself at Michael Snyder's Culture Blast page on Facebook. I say that in addition to hearing us on Roku and Gabnet, you can click on this segment any old time at Facebook.
Okay, and you can also, you can get it on Roku, and you can also, you can get it at those places. Anyway, thanks for calling. We'll talk to you next week. I'm Alex Bennett, and there's more Gabnet coming up right now.